NASA has announced there will be something besides the game to watch for on Super Bowl Sunday. Plus,
I just signed your death warrant.
Still to come, disgraced former USA gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar learns his fate. Full details right after this.
I get it. You know, I'm news. Good or bad, I'm news.
Sheriff Bob Edwards sits down with us for the first time since his arrest last June. Your ABC Montana News starts right now.
From around the Big Sky and your local hometown news station, this is Montana Right Now.
Good evening, I'm Taylor Chase.
And I'm Ty Hawkins. An assault charge against Cascade County Sheriff Bob Edwards is once again making headlines tonight.
The Helena Police Department has released the police report over 7 months later. To recap, the sheriff was charged with assault on June 15th of 2017. This after a witness at the hotel called 911 telling dispatchers that they heard a woman screaming, objects being thrown, and what sounded like a physical struggle coming from a room in that Helena hotel.
Our Rachel Crow Spreading Wings sat down with the sheriff today and joins us with the story. Rachel.
Hey guys, I'm outside the Cascade County Sheriff's Office. Now, this is the 18-page police report sent to us by the Helena Police detailing exactly what happened that night in the hotel room. Now, since then, there's been a lot of talk about Sheriff Bob Edwards and quite a bit of media coverage. Now, I did have a chance to sit down with him today to find out exactly what he wants the community to know. The major takeaway, he says, the aftermath really opened his eyes, and leading up to that night, his focus was all about the job and not himself or his family. But with regards to what happened that night in June, Sheriff Edwards says he never denied having a few beers earlier that day, and that's what led to what he describes as nothing more than a loud argument. Sheriff Edwards says he takes full responsibility of what happened, adding if the community has any questions to go ahead and ask him.
I'm the one that put myself in that position. Nobody else did. I don't blame anybody. I feel horrible for the trouble that I put my family through, that I put my office through.
On advice from legal counsel, Sheriff Edwards says he can't go into too much detail regarding the current state of his legal affairs, but he clarifies that he actually never pled guilty and the case is now in deferred prosecution. Now, generally that means both sides have come to an agreement there wasn't enough evidence to continue the case, but mostly he says his focus is on God, family, and the job, which is serving his community. Now, coming up a bit later, we do ask the big question, will the sheriff be running again? Reporting live in Cascade County, my name is Rachel Crow Spreading Wings, Montana Right Now.
Disgraced former USA gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar will likely spend the rest of his life in prison. Today, a Michigan judge sentenced Nassar to between 40 and 175 years in prison for sexual assault. This in addition to the 60 years in federal prison he will serve for child pornography, as well as whatever sentence he receives next week on 3 charges he pleaded guilty to in Eaton County, Michigan. More than 150 victims, either directly or through statements read on their behalf, told their stories of Nassar's abuse during his sentencing hearing. As emotions ran high, some say now is the time to take the first steps into regaining their lives.
As for us, we are meant to thrive. We are meant to be happy. We are meant to put an end to sexual abuse.
In a brief statement, Nassar said the victim's words have shaken him to the core.
2 Big Fork High School freshmen are recovering after being airlifted to safety on a field trip yesterday. Superintendent Matt Jensen says the students were snowshoeing on a cross-curricular field trip when the snow they were standing on gave way. The students fell about 6 feet. Jensen says one student had a concussion and was released last night. The other student had surgery to repair a broken femur and is expected to be released tomorrow. With that, Chief Meteorologist Ted King joins us from the Weather Center. Ted, how's it looking out there today?
Hey, who's your pal, huh?
Another wonderful day in Great Falls.
It was, you know, made it up to the 50-degree mark. But anyway, the next few days, things are not looking bad at all. Let me take you outside right now. And yeah, it wasn't warm long enough to melt the ice off the Missouri River. There, you can see it there. But a nice shot there of the landscape around Great Falls, and not a whole lot going on out there. And again, that's going to be the story for the next couple of days. Some higher elevation rain and snow showers off to our west. There you see it was breezy here in Great Falls. That downsloping wind helped pushing the temperature up to 50 degrees. First, we'll show you the lows this morning all over the place, as is so often the case. There's that 51 we made it to here in Great Falls. Helena, not bad. We got you out of the real cold stuff up to 40, while Cutbank made it up to 48. Right now in Great Falls, not these automated stations, not able to see the clouds. There are some clouds out there. 44 mild degrees. 35, still not bad in Helena right now. A pretty nice night out there for this time of year. Mostly in the 20s. Slight chance for a shower over some of the higher terrain the next couple of days. Otherwise, skies will be variably cloudy. 30s and 40s for highs. I'll let you know if this will last into the weekend coming up in just a little bit. Ty?
Yesterday, we told you about the Stonewall Vegetation Project, which involves removing dead trees throughout our forest. Now today, we're learning one of the reasons for that project is due to a small pest that plagued the area a decade ago. Today, our Bliss Ekman spoke with the U.S. Forest Service in Helena on what they're doing to stop the problem.
The mountain beetle is native to Montana. It usually doesn't cause too much trouble, but an unseasonably warm winter 10 years ago allowed the beetle population to explode, which caused an epidemic never before seen in the area.
60% of that land mass was impacted, and the tree mortality was pretty huge.
Unlike animals, trees can stand dead an average of 8 to 15 years, so we're right in the middle of the time where these beetle-infested trees should be falling. Bushnell says most infested campgrounds and hiking areas have been treated and cleared at least once since the epidemic. But now there's another problem: safety.
We have seen when we go back, when it's time to remove the trees, we have seen that trees have fallen down on picnic tables.
These trees pose a huge risk to public safety. Sadly, one of these dead trees fell on a mother camping with her family last summer, killing her. But it is possible to avoid similar situations from happening again. Bushnell says people should stay clear of dead trees, which have an orange-ish tint and most don't have any needles on them. In general, Bushnell says, follow your gut.
And it is a windy day. If they feel uncomfortable, just leave the site. They can come back when it's less windy.
The U.S. Forest Service says more than 100,000 of these trees are falling on a daily basis nationwide. So wherever you wander, be on the lookout. In Helena, I'm Bliss Ekman, Montana Right Now.
In an effort to educate business owners and safeguard their companies and their customers against cyber attacks, the state auditor's office hosts their first cybersecurity conference. Our Mary Jane Bellieza attended today's summit and brings us the details.
With the high demand from businesses on how to protect themselves from hacks, the state auditor's office is working to teach the public on how to protect themselves and their customers. At today's event, cybersecurity experts will teach attendees about data breaches, how to protect themselves from cyber attacks, and what you can do about it.
We have speakers talking about what Montana law requires as far as notifying consumers, making sure that if you are attacked and people's data is taken, you have to tell your customers that and try to work on correcting it.
Kyle Schumacher says he wants people to know as the world becomes more interconnected and the more our lives move online, these topics are only going to become more important.
Everybody needs to be actively thinking about these threats all the time, whether you're just an individual or especially if you're a business that handles sensitive consumer data.
In Billings, Mary Jane Bellieza, Montana, Right Now.
The Montana Pro Rodeo circuit may be behind us, but for one teen, her rodeo adventures are just beginning. Keely Drummonds is a 10th grader at Belt High School and was crowned this year as Miss Teen Rodeo. We had a chance to catch up with Keely about her recent win, and she says a lot of hard work and preparation went into this. Now she's hoping to use her new title to encourage others to follow in her footsteps.
I would encourage them to come up to one of the former or current title holders and just kind of ask us what we had to do in order to prepare and what kind of things we were looking forward to.
Coming up later tonight, our Tavares Hayward has the full in-depth interview on how she plans on using her new platform to promote an old achievement.
Since the Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks issued special chronic wasting disease hunts, certain parts of the state had no problem meeting their quota, but for the Sage Creek area, it's a much different story. Over this past weekend, hunters only checked in 9 mule deer, which according to FWP are some pretty low numbers. This brings the total mule deer killed to a little over 100. So far, none have tested positive for the disease. Bruce Ockley of the FWP says he's actually not surprised things have slowed down in Chester, and they're not sure if they will meet the quota before the deadline.
If we do not reach the quota, we'll talk about that through the summer as far as dealing with it next hunting season in the fall.
He says they do not have plans to sell any more special hunt licenses and are urging hunters to fill their tags.
You may already be a fan of Glacier National Park's Bark Ranger Gracie. Maybe you're one of her 14,000 plus Instagram followers.
Yeah, we caught up with the popular park pup today to see what her work looks like in the winter. Our Nicole Maharo reports.
This fuzzy puppy may be cute to us, but for other animals like goats, sheep, and deer, Gracie is seen as a predator, which actually helps her do her job. For those who don't know Bark Ranger Gracie, she serves the park by herding wildlife and a way to protect visitors with her owner and fellow park ranger, Mark Beal. Beal recalls Gracie's first day on the job.
Me in uniform and her with her official vest on. The sheep turned around and left the parking lot, went about 50 yards away, and stayed there.
Gracie's border collie instincts are what help her get the job done.
They get that border collie stare and that crouch and they start walking, and that's enough for whether it's the sheep or the goats or the deer to move away from the area.
But Gracie's job doesn't end at herding wildlife at the park. It's also her being a wildlife ambassador. And being an ambassador is her primary focus in the winter months, whether it's trips to area schools and events or greeting winter visitors to Glacier National Park. Beal says that Gracie works to remind people how to visit the park and enjoy wildlife safely.
Get people thinking when they go up there, oh, that sheep or goat is walking towards our car. We should roll up the windows and stay in it till it leaves and not try and feed it, or don't approach the goat on the trail and try and pet it.
It's just another way she's able to protect visitors and wild animals using her own animal instincts. In Glacier, I'm Nicole Maharo, Montana Right Now.
All right, it's National Compliment Day for each other.
Oh, fancy that.
I'm patiently waiting.
My favorite thing about Ty is your humble nature.
Oh!
I told him it was going to be genuine, but then you did that, so I
genuine.
can't now.
But I don't know how I can match that. But I just wanted to compliment you on doing such a great job. I see a lot of people in the gym on a daily basis who say, you make her look great.
Stop it. All right, still to come. NASA says there's a surprise in store for Super Bowl Sunday. Plus,
there's no reason to take other people's lives.
Words from a friend of the victims who died yesterday during the Kentucky school shooting. Coming up after the break, we'll tell you what Montana schools are doing to make sure this doesn't happen here.
All right, Wednesday afternoon view from our Talking Bag Tower Cam. Oh man, just another delightful shot right there. Ah, beautiful. I could eyeball on that one for a while, but I better not and get to it. Hello, everyone. So glad to have you with us on this Wednesday. And, things really nice around here today. And the next couple of days, not looking bad. The next chance for a decent chance for some precipitation, wouldn't you know it, is over the weekend. But more on that in just a little bit. Just some clouds out there right now. A little bit of higher elevation snow showers on the other side of the divide. But that's about it. Mild across the region. 44 Great Falls, 40 in Cutbank, 35 in Helena. Look at Havre, though, 28 Glasgow, 22. Notice the differential. The wind's blowing out of the east here, so that's a little bit of an upslope, cooling things there. But having the downslope here, sponsoring those milder temperatures. And around the rest of the lower 48, notice once again the absence of any really cold Arctic air. You go 6,000 feet high, Mount Washington, New Hampshire, you can get some cold air. Also Buffalo, they can't get a break there. Boy, they have some rough winters, but lower 48 states out in the West Texas town of El Paso, they'll take that 58. Also 39 in the Mile High City and Salt Lake City, not bad for this time of year. Well of a storm out here in the Pacific. Big trough, you can see it right here. I don't even have to draw it in for you. East side of the trough, that's where you find the action, plenty of it. Good news for the Coast Ranges and the Siskiyous, lots of moisture here for them, lots of snow and lower elevation rain. This will be shifting eastward, but it will be losing its muscle as it does so it's really not going to be a huge weather maker for us. Today we're underneath the ridge, right? Mild weather. Also, you couple that with the downslope. But here comes the trough. It's on the move. It gets on its horse, shifts eastward, but you notice it really loses a lot of its amplification as it moves on by here later tomorrow. There will be some higher elevation snow showers with it, but really not a big deal. Spreading a lot of moisture off to our west, you can see that. And some of the higher terrain on the up near the Continental Divide will see some persistent snow showers from it, but for us, really not a whole lot going on. You have this little batch of snow right here. Other computer models not concurring with this particular model for Friday, so we'll see how that turns out. I think it'll just be a higher elevation deal once again for Friday. Not a whole lot going on. There you see, it'll be on the breezy side, but hey, we'll take that 44, and Friday not looking bad. Upper 30s, and then Saturday, some colder air tries to sneak into the area. Sunday, that cold air is going to be turning around and heading back to the north. And look at Monday. We're going to be well into the 50s the way it looks right now on Monday. And in Helen, it looks like it would be an all-rain event for Sunday. But for parts of the region, Sunday could be some tricky travel. We'll be watching that over the next couple of days.
Great. Did we reach 50 today in Great Falls?
51.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We have some friends visiting from Washington State, and they said it feels like spring here. And I was like, don't jinx us.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Ted. And be sure to stay with us. We have a bunch more news coming your way. Welcome back. A new study says the neurodegenerative brain disease CTE is not caused by concussions. Here's today's Health Minute. According to a recent study published in the journal Brain, it's not concussions that cause CTE, the Alzheimer's-like disease known as chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
This paper provides the best evidence to date that CTE is triggered not by concussion, but rather by hits to the head, irregardless of whether it results in concussion or not.
The study says CTE can start early and without any signs of a concussion.
The vast, overwhelming majority of hits are occurring and no one's paying attention.
CTE has most commonly been associated with former professional football players, but the study of 4 deceased athletes' brains, all of whom had died within a day to 4 months of receiving some sort of sport-related head injury and had a history of playing football, found changes to the brain that had already existed. For today's Health Minute, I'm Taylor Chase.
An Illinois highway shut down following a car accident, and thankfully no one was seriously injured. But crews had to clean up more than just a wreck. The accident left the road literally littered with money. Here's today's Take a Look at This. An Illinois crash led to a roadway full of cash. It took place on I-74 near Mahomet and involved a car and a truck. The crash resulted in a large amount of cash being thrown from one of the vehicles, which then had to be meticulously picked up by authorities. Only minor injuries were reported. Traffic was blocked for an hour following the accident. Police say the money was from a video game parlor. If you build it, he will come. Who knew the voice meant some jerk? Because some jerk came and drove a vehicle through the iconic Field of Dreams baseball field in Dyersville, Iowa. The site was the filming location of the beloved 1989 movie starring Kevin Costner and James Earl Jones. Police say the vehicle left behind deep tracks, which have now frozen over. Crews will have to wait until the tracks thaw to repair the damage. Total costs are estimated in the thousands, as the incident also damaged a sprinkler system. A GoFundMe account was set up to help fund repairs and install a security system. Let's hope this story's ending will be as happy as the film's.
Hey, Dad?
I'm not crying. You're crying. For Take a Look at This, I'm Ty Hawkins. The one compliment Taylor failed to tell everyone is that I make her help her have a little more fun sometimes, and she's over here having a moment.
That fake cry just really put me over the edge. Good job.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Happy National Compliment Day to you too, Ted.
All right, thank you very much, and I'm still waiting for mine here, kiddos.
We'll think of one.
Still working on it.
Yeah.
See you at 6.